Welcome back to the Dean Obeidallah Show. We're live here Friday, July 25th. It's the third hour on Friday, which can only mean one thing on this show because we're not creative. It's the same thing every Friday. It's what just happened. As we look back at the insanity of the week, and we got three people who've been on before, yet return time and time again, bewildering all of us. We've got Carolina Hidalgo's back, comedian, podcaster, co-host of No Dogs in Space, Professional Pet Friends podcast, frequent guest on this and many shows on SiriusXM. Hello, Carolina. You might have other podcasts that I don't even know about.
Possibly. I don't even know about, but I'm really glad to be here. You know, every time I get asked, I always come. I can't, or almost always come.
You're a
Hey,
good
close
person.
enough.
You're one of the top people. Also, Nataly Aukar is back. She travels the world. She's all the time in the Middle East. She was just in some fashion spread magazine, which comedians just don't tend to do, but Nataly does. She was in the Netflix, it's a Jokes Festival, Don't Tell Comedy, New York American Comedy Festival, you name it. Nataly's done it. Nice to see you. I can't hear you. You've muted yourself, which is really bad for radio. Still nothing. No? All right, I'm going to do the intro of Pete. And because you were working a second ago.
I caught it.
And look who's here, the guy whose microphone always works to the chagrin of many. It is my friend, Pete Dominick. He's a host of the Stand Up with Pete podcast, which you must subscribe to. It's a great podcast. He's also regular on this show and many other shows. You see him on CNN, speaker, news commentator, Patreon, everything. It's Pete and good friend of Glenn Kirshner, who praises you all the time.
Oh, yeah. Glenn's a very good friend of mine. And Dean, it's great to be here with you, Nataly, and Carolina. And you should mention, I did a modeling thing. I was a full-time comedian for 15 years. I did some, I did modeling.
You did? For what did you do for?
I think it's some ads for Finasteride, like the hair stuff, like some before and after pictures. Early, I was on that for a
You were
while.
the before picture?
Yeah, for a little while, and then that didn't work. So now here.
So,
I did, I did that.
No, you look like you should be a model. There's something because you are very unique looking. So
yeah, like a crypt keeper or a goblin or a.
I'm not here to mock you.
Yeah.
I'm not. Okay. I'm your best friend. I would never say bad things about you.
I see.
Wink. So, Nataly, is your microphone working?
Is it?
There we go. All right. So let's start with this. There's no wrong answers. What's in the Epstein file that is freaking Donald Trump out? That we know he's in it. He was briefed in May that you're in the Epstein file, Jeffrey Epstein files. So whatever you think it is, I don't care if it's pictures, doodles, a confession. I don't care. I'm not even trying to put any parameters on this. That's my point. I want us to be sued by Donald Trump when this show ends. So let's start with you, Carolina, since you've been reading the news all week as you bragged before we started.
Yes.
What's going on?
Oh, well, yes. I've been trying to read everything I can about the Epstein files because, I like to make my day worse sometimes. And that's the problem. The Epstein files to me seems like whatever it may be, it's always going to be what you don't want it to be. It's kind of the thing of like, I really want it out. And then once it comes out, I'm going to be like, I wish I didn't see that. You want to unsee that. And, but you know what? We got to do it. I'm excited about it. I know they exist, right? We're all
What's in it? What do you think? What's in there about Trump that's freaking him out? He's freaking
out. Yeah, I believe, yes, there are photos, there are testimonies that we already have seen from women who were girls at the time. So I think it's a lot of that. And it's probably so damning enough that they are trying their hardest to just get a black marker and just cross off his name and then ask Ghislaine Maxwell to be like, just pretend like he wasn't there. And then she'd be like, okay. And that's what they're trying to do right now.
That's a different thing.
Yeah.
Nataly, hang on, Pete. I'm going to go to you next. All right. Can we just stop for a second here? Nataly Aukar, let's go to you for the block. What do you think? Any sense? Look, you look at this through the eyes of someone from another country. You're watching us and Trump and MAGA are eating each other alive over this file. What could be in there?
I don't know, but whatever it is, you need to summarize it for me once it's out because I will not have the capacity to read it.
See, really hard. Very hard.
I'm just tired of these files that have very interesting information being written in very complicated ways. I don't know if anybody has the brain capacity anymore. We've been completely altered in our brain chemistry with how small our attention spans are.
Right.
I mean, even before these were changed, I already had issues reading long documents. But I just know that I'll probably be the last person to find out what it is because I'm going to need someone to really sum it down for me.
Maybe AI. That's where.
Well,
AI
it's going to be. It's an interesting point that Nataly makes about how we're going to process this, but it's going to all be chopped up if it ever came out in its best chunks and TikToked and Instagrammed, and you'll know the top 10 accusations or things we learn. And the answer to your question, what's in it,
freaking him out. That's freaking him out. That he's.
Well, I mean, like, I think we need to be clear with what, like, the Epstein file. People think there's a list of men or something that was made up, I believe. I think it's just files, like documents of any criminal case. And what you're going to have is a whole bunch of witnesses that said, yes, Donald Trump was there when this happened or did this to me. There's going to be tons of witness testimony in the files, but we're probably never going to see any of it because it's all going to be selective, because I think what we're going to get to next of what's happening, like right now, Trump is, as we speak, is making a deal with the devil, which is, by the way, what he does every morning when he wakes up right after he paints himself orange. But his consigliere is at negotiating with Epstein's primary human trafficker, producer, agent, Elaine, whatever her name is pronounced,
Elaine Maxwell,
for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
But he's going to do what any of us would do if we wanted to save ourselves in this case. If you knew 20 people were in those files and 10 of them you liked and could incriminate you and 10 of them you could just pick, he's going to cherry pick. It's going to be like Bill Clinton and Democrats and whoever. And, you know, maybe Scott Baio or somebody he just wants to throw under the bus for chum.
Scott Baio, what?
I mean, he's going to say names, whatever. He's going to release names. They're cherry picking the names. She gets freedom. He looks like a hero, even though he himself likely, allegedly assaulted underage women. But watch for it. I hope I'm wrong. I usually am, which begs the question why I'm even speaking. But I think he's the devil making a deal with himself as he does every day.
Natalie, what's the shortest amount of stuff would you read about this? Like, if we gave you, would you watch a TikTok video on it? If it was like a minute and a half explaining it all?
I would watch it in 2x.
2 times speed. Because even a minute and a half is too much for you.
Yeah. I would watch it in 2x. Ideally, bullet points, names, bullet points, names, what they did. But I'm just so confused as to how these have not. I mean, I'm sure I'm not the first person to say that. How have these not been out already when he got arrested? I thought when I first started hearing about the Epstein files again, there was a time where it was kind of dead. And then we started hearing about them again. I was like, have these not been out while he's been in jail? So the fact, I just feel like this whole narrative and everything that's going on around it is just so, it's clearly so manipulated and can't be trusted, that any additional information that keeps being discussed about it, I just don't trust anything anymore. And I just don't wait for it anymore.
Interesting.
Do you trust the victims that have testified? Like, there's a Netflix special, a lot of documentary, like, a lot of the women, the victims. So what's in there is what they, either you believe them or not, but it's probably what they're saying happened to them as victims of his. And so we do know a lot of what happened if you believe his victims, and they're not alleged.
Yeah, but why aren't the files out? As soon as the victims come out, everything should be out. Like, with a case that big for a cause, like something that big that happened, the fact that not everything is out, it makes me go, nothing about the system works. Like,
in Lebanon, they just throw everything out there, like, because in America, with
no,
the system, you can't release it until the case is over, and even then, they don't even release everything in general.
No. I mean, if we're gonna use the Lebanese judicial system as a benchmark, we're gonna sit here for a while. But I just think across the world, this is gonna be something common, right? Government controls what government wants people to know, and then that's it.
Same thing here in America. That's exactly it. Carolina, today, Donald Trump, before he got on his plane to go to Scotland, which prosecutors call fleeing the jurisdiction, but that's where he went. He went to Scotland in the middle of this. He was asked about it, and he said, once again, people should not focus on that. He goes, they should focus on Barack Hussein Obama led a coup. That's what he said today. And he said, and Larry Summers from Harvard, nothing made sense. Like, I'll just read the line. He said, people should really focus on how well the country is doing, or they should focus on the fact that Barack Hussein Obama led a coup, or they should focus on the fact that Larry Summers from Harvard, that Bill Clinton, that's his exact words. It was like a meltdown. His mouth was not functioning in the way it should be functioning. And they're like, what are you talking about? And then he conflated people and that guy on a plane, and it really was that bad. Like, it's a level of, it's consciousness of guilt that if you were dating someone and they did this, like, just be honest, you've cheated, just say it, like that kind of stuff. It's so over the top.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, he's definitely doing the whole look over there thing, but he's the president of the United States. So this is very embarrassing that he's actually trying to have people literally like look over there. And something that Pete said actually earlier that I like didn't even think about too much until
Oh,
now
no.
because we're so obsessed with these files and the list and all this stuff is the fact that yes, the women and girls were actually hurt. Like they were hurt. So yes, where is the justice behind that? Like
Yeah.
that's the problem. Like they are caring about these older white men being like, you, no, you, Spider-Man meme, all this stuff. And then it's like everyone's forgetting like what happened. Why isn't anyone saying, hey, we should get justice for this girl and that girl and that girl? So yeah, you're right. We are forgetting all of that.
Yeah, he's not
And
seen like Epstein's not seen like that Larry Nassar or some of the other great devils of past
right.
the on the hall of rape, you know, the worst of them, the Weinsteins. Like his was about Hollywood actresses. Like the narrative wasn't, these were like no women that were young and not known and were groomed by the woman that he's negotiating with today, his
Right.
consigliere Ghislaine. Like she, by the way, how she's going to look like a hero all of a
She's
sudden,
the
and
worst.
the right is going to allow for her to be a hero. She should be seen as bad as all of the worst men in human history. Like assaulters or not, they're not all men, I suppose, but I think 99% or something.
Look, Ghislaine Maxwell was very good friends with Donald Trump too. There's countless pictures of her and Jeffrey Epstein together. And look at Donald Trump expresses concern for Ghislaine Maxwell in the past. He said, I wish her well. He's sending the lawyer there. Not even a hint of a
He
word
upheld
for the
all of
victims.
it. Like
nothing, not even a hint of any empathy or compassion for the victims. Nothing. Zero. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But so let's turn to comedy and what's going on, because it's intertwined a little bit, because South Park did an amazing job in their opening of their season and really going after, they used AI to have Trump be naked and show a teeny penis, which was very funny. They had the animated one try to have sex with the devil, and the devil didn't want to have sex with him, that kind of stuff. And it's interesting to see what's going on, because years ago, I would have just said, oh, that's funny or whatever. Now it almost seems like an act of courage on a little while. I know the guys from South Park are really, really rich, but still Trump is using the apparatus of government to punish people. And Nataly, I want to ask you, like in Lebanon, first of all, with the comedians, is there any limits at all for comedians about anything that you want to talk about?
I mean, yes and no. There's always going to be limitations and repercussions if some comedians cross the line. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a complicated subject to explain. Most of the time, comedians don't hold back. Even in Lebanon, they just fully go in and say whatever they want. It's just if some things get taped and get out, there are repercussions. Comedians have been brought into, police stations for questioning over things that they've said, and
wow,
shows have been shut down by protesters outside because of things that they've said. So, but then at the same time, comedians have done shows to big audiences and have said crazy things that have gone, and the shows have gone great. So it's more of like where you are and what the situation is and who sees it and who publicize it. And it can get.
And when you say they bring the police bring in the comedians, is it because of jokes at the expense of the government leaders?
Yes, usually it's either jokes at the expense of the government or religion.
Oh, really? I did shows in Lebanon. I remember the promoter said to us, you can say whatever you want, but if you make fun of Hezbollah, you're on your own. That's what he actually told us. I'm like, a good note. Like that was thank you for the note. No Hezbollah. I had no jokes on Hezbollah, but
I'm gonna write that down.
That was like, if you go to Lebanon, like Pete, you're familiar with protests at comedy shows because your own shows have invoked a lot of anger from people and stuff like that, right? I mean, if any comedian should be arrested for content, it's Pete Dominick.
I had a gig. I was so bad. People left the club and they went out and protested while I was still performing. It was really.
And then they came back and had the 2-drink minimum, or they like, where you going? You can't leave on your check. No, we're just going to protest.
No, they came back in. You went on stage. They came back in. You went on stage, and then they went back out and said, even worse.
I can't. This is not even comedy. This is false advertising. Pete, have you ever had, look, in the world of comedy, Colbert got fired. Didn't you do the warm-up for Colbert?
Yeah, I worked for him.
Reflect on that
for 6 years. I'm drinking out of a Colbert,
you get a Colbert report. So,
Plug.
And you guys might be on the road starting in May next year. Who knows what he does? But what was your reaction when you heard that he got canceled? And in your view, was there a connection to the politics of Paramount Skydance merger?
Yeah. To be clear, I don't work there anymore. He fired me twice, but I love him. Like he basically encouraged me to leave. He's like, you're doing too well to stay here as my fluffer. Like that. He's a great guy, and I like him a lot. But first of all, this is just government cancellation of comedians. It is the most overt, worst kind of cancellation. The right has always talked about how people get canceled for doing or saying the wrong thing, from Michael Richards to Morgan Wallen to Shane Gillis, all of which are, well, maybe Michael Richards isn't doing, he made enough money. But the point is, nobody actually gets canceled. Louis, comedians, I'm thinking of as well.
Sure, right.
And in this case, though, that's just culture. That's just an echo chamber. That's always going to happen in any country, but in any society, given the nature of social media and mobs and all of it. But this is government. They're canceling people. They put a guy in jail, a woman. They put people in jail because they wrote columns, pieces. They got picked up.
Right.
So,
The immigration, they use it.
so this is so unprecedented. But my question to everybody is, they can't take us all. Like, they can come for the corporations and they can defund, they can make deals and they can push up. But we're still here at clubs, on YouTube, on any social media site. What are they going to do? I mean, we're not going to comedians are never going to stop ridiculing people in power anywhere ever, I don't think.
Carolina, I mean, there is an upside if they take comedians away, more stage time for us, right? I mean, I hate to be a comedian about it, but as comedians, that's the whole thing. Like, oh, really? He's in jail? That's horrible.
Is that how we turn each other in eventually?
That's how we. Every comedian thinks the same way. Like,
where Dean is performing next Friday,
right? And then, of course,
Hello,
with comedians,
Ice.
the other thing is, like, if you get a lot of press because you got arrested, comedians are like, who books that? Like, how'd you get that? That kind of stuff. Like, because that's how comedians work. Everything's about it. Just everything. We're the most selfish people. Yet still, we are such beautiful, altruistic people. So, Carolina, I mean, are we in a different time? Like, is it? I view South Park as a badge of courage for the way they took on Donald Trump and Paramount and corporate media in a time where they could use the apparatus of government to go against their employer or go against them. You know, against Trey or
Matt. Yeah. No, I mean, if anything, I think they're going to go even harder, and I hope they do. Because they have all the money, they have all the power. Like, this is the chaotic good that we need right now, and I think it's a good idea. I haven't seen the episode yet. I'm gonna watch it tonight for sure. But I already heard all of it. I mean, I've been watching South Park since I was like too young to watch, like 6 years old. So wow. I mean, and I've been a fan on and off throughout the years. So I am glad that they're gonna. I hope they keep going harder, because I think that'll send a good message to everybody, and especially with the White House being all pissy about it and sending their whole press release was basically we didn't like this, but it's all like, well, I'm watching this and you guys are living rent free in my head right now. So let's keep it going. Just poking that bear.
It's not going
that
where
rapist
comedians
bear.
that poking the rapist bear. Comedians are so competitive that we're going to constantly want to top each other with how outrageously we attack power. I mean, that's always been the case. And Colbert is one of the chief amongst them. Some won't. Some will back down. And if you see, I don't know what the crackdown looks like, but I definitely know that comedians are, going to implode before they stop, I think. I just can't imagine it.
It'd be like a bunch of I'm in cell block D, like all the funniest comics are there, like the Comedy Cellar table.
Then you'll be in cell block G.
I will not be I haven't passed the D. I'm working up. I'm on B. Nataly, have you heard from any comics, because you are, I'm not sure of your citizenship status, so it's up to you to whatever you want to share about that. But comics who are here, with green cards, or comics who are immigrants who actually are concerned about doing jokes about the administration. I mean, and I know one specifically, I'm not going to mention on air, who actually is fearful of being deported because he was outspoken on Palestine, and is now here and really worried about talking about it anymore. And they've done what their goal is. You don't have to put everyone in jail. You just prosecute a few people very publicly, and it calls self-censorship of others. That's how they do it all over the world. So now, have you heard from any comics in the circles you run?
I mean, it's a constant conversation, right? And I don't think it's something that's specific. That's what's so interesting about the times we're in right now. And that's what's so scary about the times we're in right now. This is not a conversation that only non-US citizens are bringing up anymore. Mm-hmm. I think the fear is rampant also in American citizens. I have citizenship. And I was just in the Middle East. I was just back home in Beirut. And on my way back, I was terrified. I had to go through my phone before getting on the plane. And I had to delete, I searched keywords in my phone to make sure there isn't anything in there Granted, I do have OCD and I overthink everything, and I'm just always
Right.
panicking, even when nothing is going on. But
Like you performed at the Hassan Nasrallah comedy roast, right? That was a big killing, pictures of you killing at
please
that.
don't, please don't do this to me right now, Dean.
It's like I'm kidding. All right. Sorry that you didn't do that. But that would have been
A deep
it was a roast. It was a gig. I'm not political. They had booked me. They thought I was funny, you know. And Nasrallah was a big laugher. Sorry, and we're all canceled. No, but you were an American citizen. You were concerned. There is a host on this very channel we're on who's born in the U.S. who was concerned about getting back in the country recently, where he reached out and I put him in touch with a lawyer before he came in because he's born in the U.S., but he's a critic of Trump and was really worried that he might be detained like Hassan Piker, not Hassan the Piker, Hassan Piker, James cousin. Did you get delayed at all? Were you delayed at all?
So that's what was very interesting. I learned something completely new. So I came back to the US from Abu Dhabi.
Oh.
And Abu Dhabi has a special system where the US custom, like the border control, is in the Abu Dhabi airport.
Right.
So when you fly from Abu Dhabi, when you land in the US, you land as if you were on a domestic flight. So I had to deal with customs there, which were like, it was like, hey guys, you know, never felt more relaxed going through border control. I was like, you guys should do that. You guys should be everywhere.
It was no problem.
No problem.
I had that in Canada, and the guy, this is not a joke, this is true. It was in Toronto, and I look at the guy, he's U.S. Customs Border Patrol, and his name was Abdullah. And he looked at my name, and I'm Obeidallah, and we shared a look like we're both in Fight Club. Like, yep, exactly. This is it. We're on. But that really wasn't. I'm like, wow. And we got right through it. One time, there was a guy who was Middle Eastern, worked at TSA, and he's like, I like your comedy, while he was patting me down.
I mean, like now that like
what is that? Hey, there's Matt.
Matt, your audio. Matt, your mic is on. Matt, your mic is on. Your mic is on. You're the whole broadcast.
My mic is on.
Yeah, Matt. So you have to edit that or leave it in just for the audience.
I will take it out. I thought I was muted. Sorry.
Oh no, keep it in because Dean was about to tell some long ass story.
So it's not, you jerk. All right, was it continue? All right, let's continue. So I'm really glad though, Nataly, you shared and everyone shared their concerns because it's the first. I have no concerns. My goal at the airport, like they can go through my phone, but I'm telling you, you don't have to. I want Donald Trump to be arrested and die in jail. I have zero problem saying that. And if you want to keep me, this is not a joke. Like I don't care. And if you want to arrest me, you know, you'll just help me get better known. And I'm going to fight the fight, even from prison. I really don't care. I'm a lawyer. I will take the fight any day. But people who are not born here, there's a concern because there's no process to take our citizenship away if you're born in the U.S.
But you can be naturalized. Nobody should have to have.
I know that's exact. I agree with that. But if you're a naturalized citizen, you can be denaturalized. There is a process under U.S. law. It's insane. There's not one to take our citizenship if we're born here. I have that privilege. But if Trump could, they'll try to figure out a way. But Pete, you're right. To the bigger point, this is the United States of America, and you have to be worried about what you say, to worry about coming back to your own country where you're a citizen because you criticize the regime in power.
I mean, I didn't think about Natalie's case or any person who has any citizenship status other than an actual citizen. And so, but even thinking about like a privileged straight white guy like myself, I mean. They do come for you. They've come for me many times. I mean, I've had some terrible things.
Who's the they?
Yeah, you're white.
In my local, when you're an advocate and when you use your voice to, try to make a difference, and especially if you're white and straight, where you're supposed to be on their side, they absolutely try to silence you, and they absolutely did try to silence me here in my town over the school board stuff because they're racist, white supremacist, fascists, and so it's like there's ways that they can come for you in different ways, even those of us who have the most resources, but. It's just important to me, just like the broader context of this conversation is it's 2025. This is the United States of America. And we're talking about our fears about speaking out as comedians or citizens or anything, because the government is going to have recriminations and consequences. It is a crazy, crazy conversation that I never thought I would be having.
This is America, everyone. And we're having a conversation with Pete Dominick, Nataly Aukar, and Carolina Hidalgo. So, you know what's interesting? Our fellow Americans see this, right? And they don't like it. Trump's approval rating is now the lowest in the second term. Gallup poll this week, 37% approval. Among independents, it's at 29%. That's the lowest even from the first term. Like, it's awful. But among Trump supporters, he has 90% approval. And now you understand like how these things happen in other countries. You're like, how did that country become like a fascist regime? Oh yeah, the supporters of the king or the wannabe tyrant supported the guy no matter what. So, I mean, Carolina, do you ever interact with Trumpers? Do you have any insight whatsoever? 90% of Republicans see Trump, what he's doing, the cruelty, the concentration camp in Florida, to targeting universities, law firms, corrupt, putting money in his own pot. We've never had a president openly make money like the way Donald Trump is doing. In fact, his trip to Scotland right now, it's costing us millions to take a stop at his golf course so they can do photos. Again, that's all rampant corruption. We've never seen that kind of corruption. And these Trumpers see this like, that's fine. Exactly what I like. That's why I voted for him.
Well, yeah, because they like him. That's the thing. They don't really care about the other stuff, or it's very easy to explain it away. I was reading some CNN articles that you were sending out, and I was like, I can't believe how normalized they're writing this shit. You know, it's kind of crazy to me. But I did notice that all across the board, everywhere else, his numbers are completely down because he is doing a crappy job. He is not a good president. We know this. All his numbers are down across the board. So that means something. And I even looked up the name Donald, by the way, which quite unfortunately it means, it's a Celtic name that means like ruler of the world, which sucks.
Really? Donald? Yeah, that's what it means?
Yes. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
But the name Donald has also gone to an all-time low. So it's going to be a long descent down. I don't know what's going to happen.
Right to the ankles.
What
did you say, Pete?
Ah, shit. My mic wasn't open enough. She said long descent down to his ankle.
to his big ankles.
Well,
so I wonder if Donald's going to become like, you know, Benito or Adolf. Like you meet someone named Adolf, like, what is that? That's weird. They named you that? It's like, I don't know. We'll see where it goes. Pete, do you talk to Trumpers? Like, I mean, your show with all the time? What are you going to tell?
All the time, but I mean, as much as I can, I kind of enjoy the engagement sometimes.
And
I think that Carolina said that they like him, and I would agree with that, but I would just argue or add to it, they like him because he hates us. Like, why do they like him? So when you see what they're doing to people, to undocumented people and anybody else, when you see those videos, you know, there's two kinds of people, right? People who their day is ruined when they see that video, and then it's horrific to see that in the streets of America, and the other people go, good, this is what I want. I want this. I want to throw out all the brown people, prevent any new ones from coming in. I want a Christian nationalist state. This is what they want, and it's nothing new. That's important. Like, there's a huge percentage of Americans that are fascists that want a guy who's their daddy, who just does everything they want. Yeah, let that guy go do it all. He's kicking ass. But that's why, unfortunately, you like root for disaster in a way. Like the pandemic, like COVID's the only reason they didn't get reelected, right? So unless the economy craters, I don't know about this Epstein thing and how much it fractures, or if we have free and fair elections, midterm elections. But, you know, I think that's, unless their lives are somehow directly affected in negative ways and they can connect it to Donald Trump, then I'm not sure if anything changes.
I don't know if their base ever changes. I will say this, the strongly approved number among Republicans has come down, and the media is kind of missing that. Like in the Republican base, it's like 60% now strongly approve him. So you've got to say, like, oh yeah, I'm on board with the guy. Nataly, do you talk to Nataly? What does your name mean? We've learned Donald means what?
Ruler of the world.
Yeah.
Does Nataly mean anything?
It's the female version of Donald.
Really? So you're the female ruler of the world. You're a queen. Know. Queen.
You should succeed him.
Pete, does Pete mean anything?
The Rock. It was Jesus's right-hand man was Peter the Rock.
So you were named after Peter the Rock?
Nope. I was named after my gay uncle.
All right. I'm not sure what's going on right now. But anyway, I'm Dean. Dean in Arabic means religion or faith. But my dad wanted Salahuddin, and my mom wanted me to be able to fly in America. Folks, tip your waitresses. I'll be here all week. My mom was Italian. She wanted Dino. So the compromise was Dean. So Nataly means queen. Nataly, do you engage at all with like right-wingers or Trumpers? I mean, I actually know a few comics who will say things and they're like subtle Trumpers. They haven't been able to monetize it. I imagine there must be comedians out there who monetize it. I guess Brewer a little bit, right? Jim Brewer, Pete knows. But
I mean, I think he would have made more money if he didn't do that. But yeah, he was.
Yeah, and like Tom Shalhoub, who we know, Tom, and Jimmy Fallon makes a living from it, but he's really sort of like a centrist, to be quite honest. Jimmy's not like a right-wing guy.
Oh, yeah, he is. I debated him.
Oh, he did? Oh, I didn't know
way
that.
Out there. Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Cheese. Oh, yeah. Way out there. Yes.
Wow, I was wrong on that. Nataly, what about you? You're way out there on the right, right? Are you way out on the left? I mean, are you political? And I've watched your comedy many times. It's very, very funny. Do you take political positions much in the comedy? That I've seen you more like a 10-minute chunks, not doing like an hour headliner set.
I do.
Okay.
I do. But instead of saying things, I mean, I used to be a lot more direct in my political stances. I think over time, I mean, I've had incidents because of it. I fear
Really?
for my safety because of it.
Wow.
And it got to the point eventually where I was like, I don't want to pull back and change my morals. You know, I stand where I stand, and I believe in my beliefs, and I know that I stand on the right side of things. However, I need to find a way to communicate it without being constantly provoking. So it was kind of like a matter of finding that balance of standing by what I believe in without necessarily always provoking, because I've had times where I've literally feared for my life. So
wow. And it was political statements you made about, or was it about, because you
was
can
on
even piss
stage.
off people because just gender stuff, right? Being a
Was it
strong
about
woman.
men? Were you talking
That's
about?
what I said. That's what I was going to get at. Was it gender related comedy or was it
About
political?
men?
It was political.
Oh, okay.
It was political. Yeah, it was like a few years ago, it was political. And you know, when you're touring, and it was also before I started headlining. Now that I headline, I'm a little bit more comfortable in front of my crowd, knowing who is going to be in front of me. But sometimes I'm like, I don't know who showed up here in this club in the middle of Seattle. Not everybody here is here for me. Some people just walked in. So
Probably
I get a little
Sarah.
scared. I am a girl at the end of the day, so I do get scared.
Well, I thought that was very thoughtful, the way that you described what you're trying to do, because it's like, yes, you're making a statement, you're giving your opinion, but you're not trying to divide or provoke. You're trying to do it in a way that doesn't necessarily, like, still gets laughs, makes the point.
Right.
That's what I heard. I don't know if that's what you're saying.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that is a little bit what I'm
Hang on, Pete was just
saying.
mansplaining, so that was really good. I like that, Pete.
I was
Explain
actually,
what
it's called,
Nataly was
it's actually
saying.
called, you know what, Dean? It's called reflective listening. I learned it in
No,
couples counseling.
that was, let me explain to the woman. The guy's going to explain to the
But
woman.
I'm hearing,
what's
you know
really
what,
good.
Nataly appreciated it, and it furthered the point and showed the respect for what
Okay.
exactly
I
the
thought you
kind
were
of
doing a
work
bit
she's
there. I thought
doing.
you were mansplaining
No,
on
I did
purpose.
appreciate it. I think
Thank you.
it was perfect because I know I don't sound like it, but English is my third language, and sometimes words
Really?
get twisted in my head. So you use the perfect words in a short amount of time. I'm just like, at the end of the day, I started really thinking, what is my goal when I'm on stage? The first one is to make people laugh, but also it's to, you know, deliver a specific message of how I want people to perceive me, my people, or the country that I'm from, or the people within my community. And if I'm out there yelling and taking an aggressive stand and telling everyone why they're wrong and why I'm right, I'm not going to get either of these things. So I try to just find a creative way of talking that doesn't divide, but just informs. But even with that, sometimes, you know, if it finds a way to upset people.
I'm actually offended. I should say I'm offended by what you're doing.
Because she's so nice and thoughtful. It's really unnerving.
Oh
We
no,
don't
it's
like
not
it.
nice and thoughtful.
Okay,
It's
good.
I
I
am
like that
fucking
much better.
terrified.
Well,
That's why.
it's it. I
I'm
also love,
scared.
like Nataly just said, you know, my third language is English, and my fiance, who's been my fiance forever. Well, like now it's like become a running joke. And Hen will say, I know, Hen, English is your 10th language. I get it, you know, like that. And she's like,
But fear, she also makes the point about fear makes for good comedy, like tragedy and trauma and all the like her. It sounds like also what you're saying, like
well, I wish you were more scared for the benefit of the audience.
But you know what? He is right. I mean, that's the court jester syndrome, I guess. I made that up. You know, that whole thing is like, oh, I gotta be funny, entertaining. Otherwise, the king's court is gonna just, you know, kill me or something like that. So, you know, sometimes you gotta. It is dangerous. It's dangerous work.
Yeah, but I feel like there's a way to do it without putting aside everything you actually want to do and say. There's a way to, it doesn't always work, but there is a way to do it. And there is also like a part of me, I think, because I'm a very emotional person and I feel very strongly, and especially when it comes to human rights, and then everything that, you know, I feel like is unfair and that is happening. And when I get emotional, it becomes hard for me to communicate or to be funny. And also, when I feel like there's a cause that I deeply care about, it feels weird to me to talk about it on stage and make jokes about it, because I feel like I'm doing it at the expense of someone else's pain. I'm like, I don't want to try to find the laugh in something that is just really not funny. So I try to talk about the things that I care about in a different setting, in conversations, in my posts and things like that. But then when I'm on stage, I try to focus on just being funny, because when I'm emotional, I just cannot be funny.
I understand. Pete, will you explain what she meant? Sorry, because that was very nice, but I'm sure
No, I
Pete has a
really
better
get it.
translation. Oh, we all get it. All right. We got to take a break. We got to come back and talk about, is it pronounced Chipotle? Chipotle?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, good. Because I never go there, but Chipotle says that consumers are really gloomy. They had really bad earnings this week, and we're going to talk about what's going on out there. Plus, a lot of celebrities died this week, and I'm not sure what's going on. Did Trump do something to distract from Epstein? That and more right after this quick break. And welcome back, Dean Obeidallah Show. It's What Just Happened. Carolina Hidalgo, Nataly Aukar, and Pete Dominick is still here.
Sorry.
So Pete Dominick has remained despite our best interests. By the way, with comedy, have you guys ever? I realized I won't compromise. It's not like I'm a martyr, but I won't compromise if it's about me. But I will compromise when it's about someone else who comes to me and goes like, that was really hurtful. Like, and I'm like, well, that was not the point of the joke at all. And I'll go, and I'll think about it, like, okay, I was doing a Big Brown show, and I think Nataly, you were in it in January maybe. And I was going to call it last show before Trump deports us. And one of the comics in the show says, I might actually be getting deported, and it really is scary. And that title is freaking me out. So I'm like, okay, we'll change the title of the show. And it wasn't for compromising on what I was going to talk about. It's out of compassion for others who express something like in a nice way. To me, that's much more powerful. Like people on the right yell at me, I'm like, go fuck yourself. I don't care. I care less. But when if they would come to me and go like, this is really hurting me because of this, I'd be like, okay, I'm going to give it some thought. I'm going to reflect on it, and I might change it. Pete?
I've not really, I wish I had something more interesting to say or something funnier to say, but I've always been here to fight bullies. So like, I'm pretty much always punching up. Like I don't, like sexism has not ever been fun for me. I just, I used to do jokes. I've tried it. I used to do jokes. I was married for 22 years, but those jokes about my ex-wife were like all about how she's better than me at all kind of stuff. So like, I wasn't punching down. Gay, LGBT, or any of the other things, like, so no one would like come up to me and say that joke about that group, or I've had that happen. So I don't really have too many stories, because I wanted the right people in my mind, the people I like to like me.
But let me ask Nataly and Carolina, have you ever had someone come up to you about a joke afterwards and tell you something in it, and you're like, that's not at all? And I'll give you an example. I do a joke. It's a dopey joke. I met my girlfriend online on this website called eBay, right? And people laugh, ha, ha, ha. And someone came up after the show and said, that joke about human trafficking wasn't funny. And I go, what joke about human trafficking? And they go, the eBay joke. I'm like, that's not human trafficking at all. It's Pete, like it is. Look at Pete. He's now, it was Pete who said it. So Nataly, have anyone ever come up to you after a show about a joke and said like, hey, and they read something into it, and they're being sincere, they're not being a jerk, and you give it some thought, you're like, I just don't see it. Or you go like, I see it, I'm going to tweak something. I mean, well, you don't let people talk to you after shows, right, Nataly? Because you're like a queen and you keep them at arm's length. Is that
how you see me?
Now I do.
It's just like this horrible person who just.
No, you're very nice. I'm kidding you. Come on. I'm saying this.
Yeah, but you know me, but others don't know me when they're hearing this.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. She's very nice.
She does have a handler.
She is.
I made that up.
She has 18 PR people. So you've never had someone come up to you after a show either way, like say something about a joke that made you think like, okay, maybe there's something there that's wrong.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, you have.
And I am very open to it. If it's because I am, open to growing, or if it's because I have no personality and whatever people tell me, I just go with. This is up for debate. But
no personality.
She's an empty vessel.
My mom always said.
What? Your mom? Can we just talk about your mom forever now?
Yeah, that's the thing my mom used to say when I was a kid. She'd be like, your friends decide everything for you. And I was like, do they? And now I'm like, did they? So every time somebody tells me something they think, I'm like, yeah, maybe that's true. So yeah, of course. I mean, everyone tells creators what they think of their work. That's part of the deal. I mean, if you've never had that, I don't. Like,
these are my notes on what you've said on this show. I'm going to be sending to him after.
Oh, please. I need them because I need to know how to feel about them.
You opened okay, then you got stronger in the middle, but I got some stuff near the middle. latter part. Just
Have you
I'm
thought
not going
about
to get into
have you
it.
thought about quitting? I actually had a club
Yeah.
owner say that to me.
All right, so let's talk about Chipotle for a second here. The Chipotle says gloomy consumers. Literally, they said that earnings came out on Wednesday, and we lost Natalie there. She's gone. Where'd Natalie go?
She'll be back.
Someone told her to get off the air, and she
She'll be back.
she listened. Chipotle said it was their biggest quarterly drop since COVID-19. That's how weird. Like, this is really weird. And you would think if the economy is getting tighter, places like Chipotle would do well, but they're pulling back. But higher end things are doing well. So there's something out in the economy, and I'm sincerely curious about what people are seeing and what people are hearing. So Carolina, with you, I mean, what are things like in LA? What are things like when you're,
in LA?
you're going out or to restaurants or talk to other comics? I call it economic indicators. I call it comedic indicators, to be honest. I always call it comedic indicators. Like, if people are going out to comedy, that says a lot. If they're not going out, that also says something else.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, everything's down across the board. And Dean, I grew up in Mexico, even though I'm South American. And so I've never walked inside a Chipotle. But the only thing I've ever heard, especially lately, is just the balance between the beans and the rice is really the major problem. I think consumer confidence is second. That is what I've heard. I'm taking polls. I have a sociology
Too much
degree.
beans or too much rice? I'm not sure which one is cheaper.
It's just not too much rice makes it a little too like filler. You know what I mean?
You've got a lot of rice. You've got a lot of beans.
But yes, things are really crazy here. As you know, the protests and everything, my husband and I went down and everything. And there was that whole thing. You're like, you got to wear masks. You got to leave your phone at home. I'll write Dean Obeidallah's number on my arm in case I get arrested. Things like that.
I'm never going to pick it up if I don't recognize the number. I'm sorry. I'm the wrong
So please
person to
pick
do
up
that.
now. Pick up now. And things like that. So it is a very serious thing, but people try to make the best of it while we come in together while we're trying to do it, especially in this heat, this death ray heat. But we still go out and we try to do our best. Honestly.
Pete, what are you seeing economically? Any kind of thing, either in, honestly, with, either people becoming subscribers?
Yeah, no. So I haven't seen a dip in my personal subscriptions from my work, patreon.com/Pete Dominick, for my podcast, and I haven't seen prices rise in other places. In terms of how I spend, I'm not super frugal. I don't have a lot, but I don't look at prices that much. But this thing about Chipotle, so they're saying themselves, the company, that there's no smoking gun, their CEO said, for why they've had a second quarter in a row where they've lost money. But this is a question about are we dining out more or less? And I think it's coming. I think the downturn is coming. It's just taking longer than some predicted as a result of the tariffs and as a result of just tourism. People aren't going to want to come here. We've seen that in all kinds of places, and government not investing in America, the way they're cutting the federal government, like national parks and so on. So it's coming. It may be slow, but it's a slow burn, but it's happening. I do want to know what would happen if a South American who grew up in Mexico went into a Chipotle and then told her family. What would there be shame? Would you personal
A
shame?
real Italian going to the Olive Garden.
I've done it.
You got to leave now. This
Unlimited salad. You can't beat it.
You can't. Natalie, what do you see? You've been just touring the Middle East. You've been in Europe. You're back in the States. How was the economy out there when you're going around? And I don't just mean your shows. That's one indicator, but as well, just a sense of talking to people.
Oh, I love that you think that I talk to people about the economy.
People don't say things to you. Do you talk to anyone? So what were the shows like? Are people, I know they were filling up, and I saw online, and it's really great. Congratulations. So you've been working at this for years. So any kind of uptown, downturn, or is it more specific to you when we're looking at it that way?
I mean, I feel like this year we definitely had to push a lot. It feels like people worldwide are more reluctant to be spending money right now. But I think a lot of it is connected to the US. I think
why? Tell us. So you'll be banned coming back in. Tell us why.
I think when things start going south here, the rest of the world just kind of gets on a standstill a little bit. And I mean, this country just has such a big power over what's going on worldwide in the economy that when things happen here, even if they haven't fully happened there, it starts, the motion starts, and feelings of fear or of reluctance over cash becomes pretty rampant because the US dollar is what is the most valuable currency worldwide. So as the US currency is dipping, and in Europe, for example, the US dollar is like worth a lot less than it used to be.
Yeah.
It does create a little bit of a hold, but I don't know. I mean, I wish I had more like economical wording vocabulary in my head.
English is your 12th language.
Really
We
tell you what's
understand.
going on, but yeah, it does feel like there's an effect, but it's more of kind of like we're standing by seeing what's going to happen. We're a little bit nervous, but I just think that the result of that is just going to be kind of like an even bigger separation between the US and the rest of the world.
And also income inequality gets even worse. Every time there's a downturn, the rich get richer and the poor and middle class go down. I agree with Pete, though. I think something's looming out there a little bit, and we're going to see as the tariffs affect these. So last thing, 3 big celebrities died this week. There's probably more. Ozzy Osbourne, Malcolm Jamal Warner from the Cosby Show, Chuck Mangione, who Pete emailed me about, and Hulk Hogan, of course. And it's interesting to go like 4 named people died. Do you guys know how many people die a day in America? Do you have any sense what number that is?
I think more about ego. And I have thought many times, has my career been significant enough to note my death? And I'm pretty sure my career is podcaster and comedian dies, but without my name. And only in a couple.
That's it.
And only
Talkers Magazine.
Comedian. Yeah. So it's a great question about why some people's lives are worth noting more than others. But I also, every time often a prominent person dies, and I learn about them in their death. Like, I'm not familiar with Chuck Mangione, the Grammy-winning jazz superstar and composer who just died at 84. You know, he's
How You Wish You Were a Fan.
Songs like Feels So Good and Children of Sanchez.
Stop reading the internet. Stop.
They died.
All right. So, Caroline, when celebrities die, do you make it about you, just like Pete does? Do you make it all about you? And you're like, oh, that's horrible. Let me think about how my own life, where am I going to be on page 9, 15? Am I going to be like a little blurb on the internet? Like, you're much younger than Pete. You know, Pete has to worry about this stuff.
I am much, much younger than Pete. Yes.
Who isn't?
You know what? I haven't made it about me since probably 2008 when B. Arthur died. That was a very, very sad moment. As a lifelong Golden Girls fan, it was very, very sad. And of course, when Bowie passed away, it just kind of felt like, you know, a comet went by and then the world was going to just be worse. And that kind of did happen, unfortunately. I don't think it was because of the passing of David Bowie, but
it was Prince.
It was Prince, unfortunately. But you know what? The other thing I try to think about, and I know it's not a nice thing, is just always thinking about waiting till the moment that you hear certain politicians pass away. When you wake up and you read that article one day, that headline, that I think about, like, what am I gonna be wearing? You know, what are we going to do later? You know, kind of things like that, you know, really prepare.
A certain politician in mind, would you? But let's not talk about
like 3 or 4.
So, Nataly, you're a huge Hulk Hogan fan. Were you really shocked and broken out by this? Is it really like you were a Hulkster when you were a kid? Or
Hulkster?
Yeah. Or so, did you know Ozzy Osbourne? You probably knew Ozzy, right? You may have known Hulk. I'm not sure. Do you know Hulk Hogan?
Yeah, he's my favorite.
He's
But wait till you meet Jimmy Superfly Snuka.
Any celebrities that died that you reflected on, like either Pete did, like you measure your own life, or you say like, hey, that really is a big loss. Anything come to mind?
I cried a lot, and I was very affected by it. He was actually the reason I wanted to move to America. I saw him. I used to watch him. Actually, I used to watch. I mean, I didn't know his name, but I've known his face since I was a kid.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, that's who you. I thought you were going to give us a name. Then I'm like, she's talking about Malcolm Jamal Warner, of course.
No, I'm talking about Hulk. I used to watch him as a kid. I didn't watch the Cosby Show as a kid in Lebanon. It didn't make the rounds.
Well, don't watch it now.
Yeah,
it's kind of ruined now,
unfortunately. Yeah.
All right,
but I did watch wrestling because I have 2 older brothers, and we used to watch it and just like try to wrestle like them. So I did. I was kind of shocked at seeing Hulk. But
wrestling was popular in the Arab world. You're saying, like, because you had a broadcast there?
It was, but WWE was broadcast. Wasn't that what he was on?
Yeah. WWE, then we get WWF or whatever. Vice versa.
I haven't heard or looked at him or watched him since I think the last time I saw his face was when I was maybe 6 or 7 years old. And when I was in Florida 2 months ago, there was a restaurant with his photo outside. I think it's his.
Only
Oh, wow.
Muslim wrestler I can think of is the Iron Sheik, and then there was Larry the Lebanese lunatic, but he was like a third, fourth tier.
Was he actually Lebanese?
No,
Or
I
did
just
you
made
just
I just
call
made
him
him up
that?
for the joke. I
He
just made
just
him up.
made him up. That's
I met-
Pete's act. Natalie, you
met
should watch
and-
Pete's act. It's all
I met-
references like that.
I grew up liking Hulk Hogan. I met and hung out with Hulk Hogan. I
You
also
did?
Really?
interviewed Malcolm Jamal Warner. Here's what I'll say about both of them. Both of them were just as I expected. Malcolm Jamal Warner was really cool, down to earth, and just like I thought he would be.
Mhm.
And Hulk Hogan was also just like I thought he would be.
And you leave it there. All right. Before
Yeah.
I'm out of time, I want everyone to get a chance to plug your stuff so people can watch you. That's why you do this, to try to get people to come out to your shows and support your work, your podcast. Natalie, where can people watch you, my friend?
You just follow me on Instagram at NatYourColor. Everything you might be looking for will be right there.
Nat Your Color.
Correct.
Which I remember you started, when I first met you, had like a handful of followers. Now you got a huge following. It's really good. Congratulations. You've been working really hard as a comic, building it up. So congratulations on that. Carolina, what about you? Where can people follow you?
Well, yeah, you can find me on Instagram, Carolina Danger Hidalgo, just for all the stuff, all the podcasts, and we'll be doing some live podcast shows and live DJ sets. So check that out. Yes.
And Pete, your website, uncomfortablesilence.com, right? Is that what it's called?
That's my secondary. That's my new show. And yes,
Uncomfortablesilence.com.
really excited to launch
Where can
that.
people follow you, my friend?
Listen to the podcast every day. Stand up with Pete Dominick and all those other. I'm on every platform, but mainly I'm posting on MySpace.
Well, I want to thank all three of you. You were great.